Tonight's theme is dedicated to you walkers. You know, the guys that like to get out of the boat and walk down the flats. It's a great way to fish from the beach or the shore. But in either case, it's a quiet approach to catching all inshore predators. Tonight, we're talking wading here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
This is the Florida Insider Fishing Report, back in action. We're your hosts here, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, to take you on a wild wading adventure today with reports from the best in the wading surf fishing biz. And to go along with us for the ride is our live studio audience and our friend from Harbor Trucks. Now, we know it's been hot, so how appropriate for the first weekend of June to become one with the fishies in the water, which we all know is your specialty, Rick, so talk to us.
As you know, I don't like getting out of the boat, but certainly I've spent my time wading. And the thing that I really like about it is that it allows you to cover a lot of ground that you don't normally be able to cover. Two guys fishing out of a 23-foot bay boat are really only able to cast out of the front and out of the back. But if you got two of you and you spread out, now you're really covering a lot of ground.
Right.
And that's one of the things that makes it so effective.
And fun, too.
Absolutely.
Different way. All right, Dave Ferrell has done some wading in his time, haven't you, Dave?
Well, yeah, I didn't have a boat for the long time.
Well, that'll
I
do
was
it.
a poor boy, so I did. That was all my saltwater fishing. If I wasn't marlin fishing, I was wading, and I really like it. It's my favorite thing to do.
So we've got a lot to talk about today, huh?
I hope so.
All right, if you plan on wade fishing this weekend, there's no better place to do it than our first region on today's adventure in the Yeti Panhandle with Captain Pat Deneen. Hey, Patty.
Hey, Bree, you don't need a boat to fish in the Panhandle and catch fish. Wade fishing is very popular in the Panhandle, and the possibilities are limitless. Gulf side, the Panhandle beaches, we provide clear waters, abundant access, and the wading anglers, they target pompano, redfish, bluefish, and other coastal species. If you're going to be wading on the beachside Gulf, the jigs, the spoons are lures of choice. And then if you're going to be in the bay, the bays excel for wade fishing opportunities. But I tell you what, Port St. Joe Bay is probably the Panhandle's crown jewel. The whole bay is ringed with firm bottom grass flats, providing a healthy population of trout and redfish and flounder. The bays to the west, like St. Andrews Bay, Chattahoochee Bay, Pensacola Bay, they offer similar conditions on the southern portions of the bay. Up on the northern portions of the bay, the water's less clear, the bottom's a little bit softer, a little bit harder for wading in, but there's still good fishing opportunities. Waders in the bay, they often drag a slow troll bucket containing live shrimp, and they fish those shrimps under a float. But they also cast topwater baits and midwater suspending baits. And currently in the bay, the wade fishermen, they're targeting speckled trout and redfish, and the fishing's been pretty good. And speaking of that speckled trout fishing, the bite's been very consistent, so you can access them by either wading or boating. The trout are on the grass flats right now, where you would expect them this time of year, in that 3 to 5 feet of water. Early morning or late day fishing is best. Midday, fish those deeper edges where the flats roll off into the bay or where the flats roll off into the bayou mouths. You can anchor up and chum with live menhaden or pilchards. It's especially effective. But if you've got the right anglers, people that know how to work a lure, casting and drifting is a way to go. And it can be just as effective as sitting in one spot and chumming. And if your daytime schedule doesn't permit, beat the heat. It's been really hot up here, and fish at night. Fish those lights with live baits. The speckled trouts are running 15 to 20 plus inches. And then moving offshore, the blue water fishing has been particularly good, and it just really continues to improve. There's been some good blue water, 30 or so miles offshore, really not 30 plus miles, start at about 30 miles. There's a strong color change. It's been running from the Ozark west to the Elbow area, and then further out, there's similar conditions are seen in the spur vicinity and east towards the squiggles. And when the squiggles have been looking especially good this past couple of days, where there's been a good blue water push up in there, pushing up against that green water, and it's been very calm, allowing significant grass lines and islands to form. And where you find those grass lines and islands, you're going to find the dolphin, the wahoos, and the other players. So troll a mixed spread of baits and lures, and also have several spinning rods ready to cast lures or live baits when the opportunity arises. And there's a photo of Captain Kurt Gwynn out of Destin. He runs the only way, and that's charter he had this past week, a really nice dolphin, and they also caught wahoos and open water yellowfin tuna bites up to about 100 pounds. So the blue water bite's been really good, not too far out right now. And then finally offshore, there's been a lot of mangrove snappers and some really nice ones being caught from the wrecks and natural bottom. To target the mangroves, anchor up or spot lock over some natural bottom or chum with some small chunk baits. Tuesday we had this mangroves chummed up right below the lower unit of the boat. They're notoriously leader shy, so you're going to catch a couple of them right off the bat, and then they're going to kind of wise up to you. So you're going to have to scale down your leader, maybe down to about 20 pounds or so. Use the same bait you're chunking with, or set it up with a live shrimp or a thumb side filtered to kind of turn on those finicky fish. The bigger mangroves are running up to about 10 pounds, but 2 to 3 pounds probably the average. And there's a photo of Brandon Barton. He's a kayak fishing guru, and it's a really nice mangrove he caught this past week off of Pensacola Beach.
All right, Pat, way to start us off from the Yeti Panhandle region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Blue Water Outrigger Panhandle hotspots. He says that inshore, beat the heat and fish the dock lights at night for trout using free-line shrimp or minnows. And then offshore, blue water fishing is on fire, so you might want to troll a mixed spread and look for the rips and the weed lines for that. Dolphin, wahoos, sailfish, everything.
Well, you could be a kayak guru.
Yes.
You could be.
I wish I was.
Me too. Waiting in the Bell's Southwest region isn't too shabby either, so let's hear from Captain Ronnie Houston on the best way to approach this wading situation. Tell us, Ronnie.
Well, it's always a pleasure representing the Bell's Southwest region. Wading, there are some things you need to know when it comes to wading. Our tides in the Southwest region can normally range anywhere from about 1 to 3 feet, but depending on your winds, south, southwest, and west winds will make the tides higher. And what they call for, is higher tides. So it's going to throw your tides off maybe a foot and a half. But then also your east, northeast, and northeasterly winds will make the tides a lot lower and may alter your tides as times predicted. So on your lower tides in the winter with fronts or around your full moon phases, these are the times to fish sandbar edges, potholes, and troughs because the fish will be trapped or cruising the edges, waiting for the water to come back in. Now, in the higher phase, the good thing about wading is when the water floods the shorelines, casting from a boat, skipping under the bushes can be difficult. But wading is an advantage. Now you're at the water level, and you can cast sideways at water level and present your bait under the trees. You can still fish slide baits by simply dragging a floating bait pen. Artificial baits, hooks, leaders can be brought with you in the waist, chest, and small backpack accessories. And believe it or not, it's really a surreal and enjoyable way to fish. I also enjoy wading, but I'll tell you what, there's a shoe that I've really put through the test. It's made by Soft Science. It's the Terrafin or the Fin Boot. I have a picture of it this week, and it's something I highly recommend, not just for wading, but keeping on your boat in case you got to get out, whether you have a loose plug, you might have some water line in the prop. It's a shoe I put through the test, and I strongly suggest it. Also, on the inshore side, the snook. Right now, your beaches and passes all throughout the region are holding good numbers of snook, especially on your higher phases of the tide, which should be about midday towards the end of the week. There are two ways of fishing, by simply walking the beach, or you can get out and wade out in the water and cast towards the beach line. Now, the water's really clean right now. I really believe we need some rain or a good afternoon sea breeze just to change the color of the water, which will make your hookup ratio better. There's a lot of fish, but with that clear water, it's tough. So I can strongly suggest 20 to 30-pound fluorocarbon leaders, maybe 4 to 6 foot length, but then also from your main line to your leader, you want to use small knots, or strictly, if that's what you're doing is the beach fishing, just simply use some light mono. Live pilchards, 1/8-ounce silver spoons, white bucktails, and suspending baits right now from about 6 inches to 2 foot in chrome, white, and chartreuse, or olive in color. And I've got a couple nice pictures of some snook caught in the southern end of the region. One is a common slot-sized snook that we're catching right now by a buddy of mine by the name of Lewis out of Miami, who comes over here and fishes all the time. And then one by Captain Brian, fishing with Captain Brian Sanders, a nice oversized snook. So right now, snook fishing is in full swing. Now on the offshore side, we got the red groupers. Now, the weather's been good. We've got easterly, southeasterly winds all week with some variables towards the weekend. Captain Mike Avedon is reporting for him. The depths for him have been anywhere from 80 to 120 feet. But Captain Corey McGuire to the north, he's in the same ballpark. He's telling me 90 to 115 feet. Both captains have been identical in their reports. Corey says way he's locating a lot of his fish is he's simply drifting and putting out 4 to 6 ounce bucktails tipped with squid, which allows them to cover water. Now, both captains are fishing hard bottom, and they're both telling me big or small, once they locate them, anchor up and just simply drop down cut squid, herring and sardines. And another important information for this week, red snappers open this week, so it opens up this weekend. Anybody who's looking to learn how to catch some red snappers, my captains in the south and the north do have some openings, so if you want to learn and see how it gets done, let me know and I'll get you set up. Last species is going to be permit. It's really not a specific area, according to Cap Mike Avanon. From Marco Island to Sanibel, he's telling me that towers, the wrecks, and artificial reefs out to about 30 miles are holding. It's about you being there at the right time and having patience. He's telling me early morning fish seem to be on the top in schools. You can anchor up or around the structure, make several drifts with live crabs, unweighted or weighted until you figure out where they are in the water column. And I got another nice picture of a permit that was just caught in the southwest region. Get out this weekend. Weather's going to be good. Catch you some fish.
All right, good job, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Caddy Can hotspots from the Bell Southwest region. He says inshore tarpon, Wiggins Pass to Stump Pass. Try the passes and beaches near and near shore wrecks using live herring, pinfish, pilchards, crabs, and swim baits. And then offshore, tunas. Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass, 90 to 120 feet of water. Look for the birds and the bait schools on top. Troll 4 to 6 inch X-Wraps and drop back those herrings and pilchards if you want, Brie.
All right, we're in the Bell Southwest region, so let's talk about the Bells.
Okay, let's do that.
Fishing contest. Yes. Enter to win a fishing trip with Rick and I. We do this every year. It's so much fun.
Yes.
You can enter and register at any Bell's store location starting on Sunday, June 2nd through June 16th. You must be 18 years or older to enter, and you must be a Florida resident. Good luck. We want to fish with you.
Get the Bells
It's always
and get
so much
registered.
fun. I love it, guys. All right, stay hooked. We're waiting on the Fish Bites East Region Captain next, and also seeing what Dave has for us at the CCA workbench.
Look
Lots
at all
of
this
waiting
stuff. And this is not what you want to carry when you go wading.
That's
I'm
a
going
lot
to
of
tell you,
stuff.
it's going to be one of the things I say is you don't need to bring a whole lot of stuff. Try to
Pack
keep
light.
it down.
Pack light when you're waiting,
Pack
right?
light correctly.
We'll be back, guys.
That might be hard for you now that you're a mama packing.
Hey.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. Sirius XM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle. When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
So we're here at the Academy Outdoors and Sports Rigs and Techniques, Dave.
That's a mouthful, yes, sir.
Certainly at the CCA workbench is where it all goes down, and man, it is loaded tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, I brought a bunch of stuff, and like I said, one of the things you want to do when you go wade fishing is trim back on the stuff, because you're going to be out of the boat. You're going to be, you know, you're not going to have a big tackle box on your back. I guess you could wear a backpack nowadays. All the fellas are doing that kind of thing. Yep. But that was more, when I was doing it, I was more having a kind of a wading belt like this. And when you buy one of these things, what you got to watch out for is right when you first go to buy one, not only do they allow you to keep a rod, you know, put a rod holder, it has a rod holder on it, but you know, they also help your back. You know, when you're out there wading and standing up and casting for a long time, if you get that thing tight around your back, it'll really help your lower back problems like I have. Well, one thing you have to do is right away is you need to replace the box that usually comes with these things, because very seldom do they have a waterproof box like this. You know, you want to make sure you have something that will clamp down and has an O-ring on it and will keep all your stuff dry.
Right, I gotcha.
You know, luckily in Florida we got great wading places. You know, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look for a place where you have some semi-firm bottom. You know, you don't want to be fighting mud all day, and there's places in the Mosquito Lagoon over here where I've literally sank in mud up to my armpits, which is not only unpleasant, it's very dangerous if you're by yourself, you know, because you could just walk off into a place and get stuck. And I was actually stuck to the point where my buddy had to lay on his belly and come out and get me. And then we got into his really nice car and drove home, but we didn't ruined it because we had that black Mosquito Lagoon mud all over us. But just be careful when you're choosing a place. You know, ask around, see if people have been there before. You know, test it out a little bit before you just go tromping off in there, because there are places where you don't want to be.
Now the water gets chilly in the winter, so
Well,
you know, pair of waders?
Luckily in Florida, you know, we don't have a whole lot of cold water, but it's all cold to me once it gets under 72 degrees, and that does do that. So if in the wintertime, let's say from you know, December through up until February, sometimes even October, November, as the water gets a little cold, you're gonna have to get some decent waders that are thick and waterproof, and that you can wear maybe a pair of sweatpants on underneath.
Correct.
Normally, if you don't have the money to buy some of these Sim stuff, which are really nice and long lasting, you can buy those. You can go to Walmart or one of those little dollar stores, and sometimes in the fishing section they'll have those little plastic rubber waders, and you can wear those with a pair of sweatpants underneath, and those will be just as good for like 2 or 3 trips. You know, they cost like 10 or 15 bucks, and they're good for 2 or 3 trips. And about the 4th trip, you're going to find out you got a leak.
And those are socks waders, right? So you got to get a pair of shoes for them?
Correct. You're always going to wear, I used to wear high top Converses on top of mine, but
of course you did.
Yeah, that's what I had. And then I went to dive boots. You know, once I started diving, I figured, hey, these dive boots are really cool. Well, they're cool up to a point. Most dive boots stick to your feet really good, and you can get foot compression if you're in deeper water. If you get up into, you know, waist deep water and your feet are down there, they squeeze, and you can get cramps in your feet by wearing those things. So I like a good structured shoe now. I wear these soft science ones. What's really good about them is the zipper's on the outside instead of the inside, so you can get them off real easy, and they have the locking clasp at the top, so you don't leave them in the mud. If you get into any mud,
and you can pull this tight to keep the rocks out.
Yeah, keep the sand and stuff out, and you know, they're really good at lightweight and draining. That's the good thing about them.
They dry real fast, and you spray them down with the hose when you get done.
Right now, when you're out there, you're going to want a good 7-foot rod, preferably. Maybe, you know, I like to use braided line so I can get really long casts. This has monofilament on it, which is, there ain't nothing wrong with using monofilament. A lot of guys use braid, but mono's good too. I use like a 20-pound leader, and that's good enough for just about every redfish and trout I encounter in the Indian River, Mosquito Lagoon areas. You know, you're gonna want to have a good stringer. You know, if you're planning on keeping a couple fish, and if it's in the summertime and there's a lot of sharks around, you might want a long stringer. You know, keep that stuff away from you. And if a shark does come and get your stringer, don't fight the shark over the stringer.
No.
Let the shark have it, because you know, once he's finished with that, he might come and eat you. You know, you want to get a good pair of gloves. You know, if you're out there handling fish, you might not need them because you got those alligator hands. But normal people would like to, you know, have some kind of hand protection. A nice fish gripper is a good thing to have, so you can control a fish in the water. Again, you're not going to be able to flop them into the boat. You're going to be in the water with them. A good pair of cutters or pliers that are stainless steel or aluminum. There's something that won't corrode to nothing over 2 trips, which is kind of hard to find these days. You know, you got to find some good aluminum ones. And, you know, I like to, when I'm fishing these kind of things, a lot of the baits that I use are fast baits. I'm searching a lot of times. If I'm not seeing a mullet or bait on the surface, you're usually just walking and casting. So the Gold Spoon is one of my favorites to use. Any kind of MirrOlure Top Dog, or the Mirodine Now, which is one of my favorites. That Mirodine catches everything. And of course, the Chug Bug. I love the Chug Bug. If I'm fishing, I have a Chug Bug on me.
You're
somewhere.
shaking those alligator hands over
Hopefully
there,
not
Dave.
in my ear.
He's shaking my alligator
He
hand.
slid that in there so slick.
Yeah,
Didn't even give you
you
a
know.
chance to respond or
I'm good at that.
Kathy's
You're good
the
at
only
that.
one that loves my hand.
I know, it's true. Well, my ladies are helping me out over here. In the Fish Bites East region, the best wade fishing adventures happen in the Indian River, as the other rivers are too deep or there's just limited access. So, Captain Mike, why don't you piggyback that for me?
Yeah, sure, Brie. You know, the advantage to wade fishing is that you present a low profile and you're silent, so the fish have a hard time detecting your presence. You can get pretty close to them, make an easy cast to them. There's some great wade fishing in my region, mostly in the Indian River and places with public access, like the docks along the House of Refuge, the west side of the Stewart Causeway, Herman's Bay, Walton Road, the Indian River Drive south of the old Fort Park and Fort Pierce. Around Bear Point's got some good wade access. If you're looking to learn more about locations to fish, species to target, you might contact Jason Arman of That's Our Man Land-Based Fishing Charters. He does wade fishing trips. That's what he specializes in. He'll show you where to go, how to approach those areas. The majority of wade fishing in my region, they throw either soft plastics, like a saltwater assassin, 5 or 6 inch shad, in the colors like Papa Smurf or Calcasieu Brew or Drunk Monkey, or they fish live shrimp, either free lined or under a popping cork. Now, there's some great wade fishing for snook and for trout in Little Lake Worth off of A1A. There's also some walk-in snook fishing along the docks in the St. Lucie River off of Riverside Drive. If you like throwing topwater plugs, you can fish the shoreline south of Torpy Road, or you can walk the bar on the southeast side of Northbridge in Fort Pierce for snook, trout, and flounder. Plenty of options for wade fishing. I got a photo. That's Jason Arman. We were just talking about him with a big sea trout he caught wading. That fish ate a panhandle moon-colored saltwater assassin dye dapper. And then while we're on the subject of trout, the bite's been outstanding in St. Lucie and Indian River counties, in the Indian River, along the shoreline, off Bear Point, off Middle Cove, and off of Queens Cove. We've had super low tides, so the key is to be on the water early, looking for the deeper sandy potholes. That's where the fish are using those potholes to ambush their prey. A lot of the larger trout are coming off the deeper edges of the spoil islands. Those spoil islands are from Fort Pierce all the way up to Vero Beach. And as long as the tide's moving, those fish are feeding. The bite's over by like 9:30 in the morning. So be on the water dark, throwing topwater plugs, soft plastics. You can fish shrimp or pinfish or sand perch under a saltwater assassin rattle cork. The big fish, though, they're in the sandy potholes. The school fish, they're in the areas with that solid seagrass, not a lot of potholes. Average sea trout's going to be like 2 to 4 pounds.
All right, let's go offshore, bub.
Well, we saw some really good dolphin catches in the last week. And what's been nice is that a lot of those larger fish have come in less than 200 feet of water. The ocean is still pretty much covered with weeds. It's making it really hard to fish without constantly having to reel in lines, change out your baits. And one way to combat the weeds is to troll a rigged squid or a skirt and strip combination. Both of those allow you to hide the hook in the bait, and that cuts down on the amount of weeds that you're going to snag. This is also a good time to put out live baits, either just behind the boat or on a kite, and drift or power drift right along the edges of the weeds. With a kite, you can kind of manually lift the baits over sections of weed. A lot of the dolphin caught this week were in that 15 to 25 pound class. A handful of 40-pounders in the mix as well. And a lot of those fish in less than 200 feet of water. I got a photo. That's Matt Bagley on the Patsy 4. He got that dolphin in 150 feet of water, and that fish ate a troll ballyhoo. And then, just like that, it seems like the school kings are everywhere in my region, from Fort Pierce all the way down to Palm Beach. There's fish on the beaches. There's fish around the power plant outflow. On just about every bait school right now, there's kingfish. On the 6 Mile Reef, the offshore bar, the Rio Cove, the Loran Tower Ledge, the Drop-Off Jupiter, the Juneau Pier. There's kings everywhere in my region right now. Most of the kings are in that 10 to 20 pound range, but there's still some big fish in the mix. I did see a 38-pound king that was caught in the kingfish hole on Monday. That fish ate a live mullet. And, you know, since a lot of the fish are small, you can fish 20-pound conventional or spinning gear, just add a trace and number for a wire on a wire stinger rig. Find a bait school, catch a few baits from the school. You can put them out and just make a few laps around that bait school, and you're likely to get bit. You can also watch the skyrocketing kings. I saw that happening both on the beach and offshore. You see that, just run over to where you see the king skyrocket, put out baits, you're likely to get bit. So, you know, the May kingfish bite's pretty much strong in my whole region.
All right, Mike, we always got to talk about bass, and I'm dying to know, so why don't you tell me what's happening?
Well, the water on Lake Okeechobee is super low. It's like we're at around 11 feet right now, and that's concentrating the bass out in the deeper water. Essentially what those low water levels do, they're pushing the bass out of the shallow marsh where they're collecting around the first deep structure that they encounter. And that's usually the first, you know, grass line out in open water. I was talking to Scott Martin. He said the bass are busting shad in the grass all over Observation Shoal right now. The bite's early. It's over by 8 a.m., so you got to be at the spot on Observation Shoal by 6 o'clock. Look for busting fish or diving birds. You can even hear the fish blowing up and just go to that area and throw anything that looks like a shad, a white spinnerbait, silver with blue-black topwater, or silver and blue lipless crankbait, even an all-white Bass Assassin split-tailed shad. The bite will shut down as the sun gets up. Then it's time to shift over to flipping. You want to flip the outside points or the isolated clumps of bulrushes with a June bug or a watermelon-colored Bass Assassin skunk ape creature bait. That's where you're going to get your big fish bite right now. If numbers are a game, you can fish wild shiner around the same areas of Observation Shoal and on those outside points and do really well. You know, most anglers are catching 20 to 40 bass a morning, 1 to 3 pound average, fish to about 8 pounds. So, you know, you just want to be careful navigating those shallows because of the low water level, but the bass bite is super strong on the Big O.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. Mike says inshore. Dawn tarpon bite is in the South Fork of the St. Lucie River. Live mullet or 4-inch Houdini-colored saltwater assassin shad, sea shads would work real well. And then offshore, mangrove snappers in 80 feet of water on Bethel Shoal Reef. Sardines, cigar minnows, or grunt plugs on 5-0 VMC tournament. Circle hooks will work for those guys.
Lots of good photos coming out of the Fish Bites East region this week.
Man.
Keep it up, guys. All right, Rick. Wade fishing is how one of the 4-star tagged redfish was captured since the release. A few have been caught since the start of Star this past Saturday, and not one of the anglers was registered for Star or was a CCE member. I feel like we go through this every single year.
When
so all
are
the
you
boat
people going to learn?
I know. All the boat, motor, and trailer packages and the truck are still available. And did you also know your entry in Star could win a fishing trip with one of our FIFR captains? So make sure to get registered at www.ccafloridastar.com. Make sure to get registered. Come on, member, guys. So
it's not
easy.
that hard.
Let's go win that truck or boat or whatever it may be. Right? It's that easy.
It's that easy.
We'll be here waiting to bring you the Strike Zone Northeast and Startron Central West region captains. So don't drift too far. We'll be back right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Yes, we will.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Kubota, find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and there's no place I'd rather be. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and time don't matter to me, 'cause I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere.
Well, welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and Kelly Baxter from Harbor Trucks is here with me. And Kelly, you know, we've been involved now 2 years, or going on our second year, and certainly we've got a lot of great things to talk about. So why don't we just get right into it?
Absolutely. You know, Rick, we are located in Port Charlotte. We are right between Naples and
Tampa.
Thank you, Tampa and Naples. And we do have some exciting things to talk about. As a matter of fact, for the remaining 18 Titans that we have up to $16,000 off, which is absolutely amazing.
That is amazing. We got a lot of different trim packages. Why don't we talk a little bit about that for a second?
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, if you need a vehicle to tow, we have everything from your family Armada to the mid-sized Frontier, and of course Titan and Titan XD. We have over 100 different models that are in stock. And Rick, as you know, Titan has America's best truck warranty. It's 5 years and 100,000 miles. And as a matter of fact, you can even get into a Titan for as low as $29,000.
Wow, that's a great deal. So I also know that you guys have a big fleet of commercial trucks. So why don't we touch on that quickly?
Absolutely. We have, as a matter of fact, a dedicated fleet and commercial manager who handles all of our fleet accounts.
All right. So you know what? What about if you're looking about getting a used car pre-owned?
We have a large selection of certified pre-owned vehicles. They go through a 160-point inspection by our certified Nissan technicians. It's like a like-new vehicle, but at a great price.
So we go through this 160-point inspection. So what else do we do? Obviously, we have our service center where we can get our oil changed as well as brake jobs.
Absolutely. We are very proud of our service center. We not only service Nissans, we service all makes and models, but with our certified factory technicians, they are the perfect place to get your Nissan serviced.
All right, so guys, if you're interested, you just simply have to go to harbortrucks.com, or you can call Kelly over there at Harbor Nissan.
Correct.
And she'll be able to get you all that special pricing that we talked about. Thank you so much, Kelly. Don't go anywhere. Brie, obviously, we got another region to go to.
Yes, we do. But first, it seems appropriate to talk about the Harbor Trucks giveaway. Harbor Trucks has partnered with Casa Vieja Lodge, and 2 lucky winners will get a 4-day, 3-night trip to come fish in Guatemala with Rick and I at Casa Vieja Lodge. This is definitely going to be an experience of a lifetime that you won't want to miss out on. So make sure to head over to our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com to enter. All right, now let's not keep Tommy Derringer in the Strike Zone Northeast region waiting any longer. Here he is on FaceTime. Let's hear it, Tommy.
So what do you got, Tommy?
Where you at, Tommy? Talk to us.
Well, until we get Tommy on the line, I'm going to go ahead and start reading his report. It looks like he is not hearing us. So Tommy says when it comes to wading, he obviously you want to go. They have some really cool, unique wading opportunities in the Strike Zone Northeast region. The majority of the bottom is pretty muddy, which can make wading a little difficult. But if you stay closer to the inlets where the bottom is sandier, the wading fishing can be great. Just to make sure that you understand that we're going to make sure that you understand you got to have good foot protection, and the oysters are abundant. They're also, they're really tough on your feet. So have a good pair of wading boots. Fin boots, the soft science that they make is the fin boots work really well. They come to mind as one of Tommy's favorite. Can you hear us now, Tommy?
Can you hear us now, Tommy?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah,
oh,
man,
good.
So I'm halfway through your wading report, so bail me out here, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, I heard you know those fin boots are awesome. They're my favorite wading boots to go to. We have some really crazy oyster bars, so you need a good pair of wading shoes. Now, we do have one of the most unique and exciting ways to wade fish, and that's during what we call our flood tides. You know, when the tide gets up over about 5.5 feet, the water gets into the grassy marsh areas where the redfish can't usually access on a regular high tide. You know, the redfish, they're going to be losing their minds up in there over the crabs that they can get to on that flood. And you're going to see them they're going to be tailing, backing, and slurping crabs in what basically looks like you're fishing in a flooded backyard. It's really cool. Now, you can access these areas by boat, of course, but you can also walk right in from the side of the road in a bunch of different spots. It's some of the most fun sight fishing you'll ever do, and it's a great time to bust out the fly rod as well, if that's your thing. Again, be careful, wear your soft science boots, and you know what? Be on the lookout for any other critters that may be up there in the grass with you. If you've never done the flood tide thing, it might be a good idea to book a charter with one of our local guides. They would be more than happy to show you the ropes. And I've got a really cool picture here. My buddy, Greg Grandstad, sent me this picture of Wes Davis with a nice redfish he caught on fly while wading in that flooded grass.
That is so beautiful.
Now, staying inshore, we have an early morning high tide this weekend. It's going to be the perfect time to bust out a topwater plug for some trout. The finger mullet, they've been pretty thick this week, especially in and around St. Augustine. That Rapala skitter V, you know what? It's just about the perfect size to imitate the size of the finger mullet around right now. With the lack of rain over the last couple of weeks, the water is super clean, close to the inlets on that high tide stage, and the trout have been stacking up along the edges of the ICW in that clean outgoing water. Look for those concentrations of bait and toss those top waters around and through that stuff. There's quite a few trout in that 14 to 18 inch range, but there's also quite a few big gator trout around as well. Now, moving offshore, the mangrove snapper, you know, those mangoes are starting to group up for their annual spawn throughout the region. It's a little early this year, and there's some really big fish that have been caught this week. Expect the mango bite to be on fire over the next couple of months around the new and the full moons. They're schooling up in that 120 to 140 foot depths right now. A lot of the captains are going to chum them up with using cut sardines or cut pogies. And once you get them chummed up in the water column, then you'll want to use a long leader, maybe 6 to 8 foot, probably 30-pound fluorocarbon, and you're going to downsize your hook to something like a 3/0 BMC circle hook. Now, you can hide that hook in a chunk of sardine and just free line it back with no weight. Now, those mangoes are running anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds with some really big ones mixed in. I saw a couple that were in the 15-pound range this week. And I got another picture here. Captain Jimmy Laidler from thelegendfishing.com sent me this picture of some happy clients from a recent mango trip. Jimmy says he's expecting this mango bite to be epic this year, so better book your trip now if you're trying to get into that.
Hey, Tommy, I want you to send that picture to Gibby.
Yeah, right. We'll teach him. Now, also offshore, guys, the kingfish bite, man, it continues to be great throughout the region this week. Both the beach and the nearshore reefs have been holding good numbers of kingfish in that 12 to 15 pound range. Live pogies trolled up top have been the go-to, like it pretty much always is for those kingfish. My buddy Steve Thompson told me they were so thick out of Mayport, he was basically just hand feeding them off the back of the boat when he was fishing with his wife earlier this week along the beach. It's really a great time to get out there with the family or the kids because those fish are pretty much wide open right now. Now, if you can't find the pogies, just cast net some mullet before heading out because those kingfish are going to eat them as well. And I got one last photo here. Steve Thompson sent me this picture of his wife Rhonda with their biggest king of the day. Steve said this fish put up quite a battle and was over 40 pounds. That would be a really nice one to have in one of those kingfish tournaments we got coming up.
You're absolutely right, Tommy. All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the strike zone, northeast region, inshore. Trout on the early morning high tide along the ICW shell banks. Target the banks closest to the inlets. Rapala skitter V's and bone color has been working well. And then offshore, kingfish along the beach and on the nearshore reefs throughout the region. Slow troll, live pogies, or a mullet for those dudes.
Okay, let's head to the StarTron Central West region with Captain Jeff Page. It was good news if wading is your thing. Tell us, Page.
You know I like wading. Rick and I have done a couple sportsman adventure shows where we've waded, and they've always turned out really good. And you know what? In our StarTron Central West region, we have a lot of neat areas that you can access without a boat, by car, by bicycle, by foot. And starting down south, that whole east side of Charlotte Harbor, from Burnt Storm Marina north and south, they have a lot of accesses that you can walk down trails and get down to the shoreline and wade. In Lemon Bay, which is in Englewood, on the east side of Lemon Bay and on the west side, there's a lot of public beach accesses. Same thing. Down around Venice Fishing Pier, not only do you have the pier itself, but you can walk the beach south of the fishing pier towards Minnesota Rocks and fish right along the shoreline for snook, triple tail, flounder, pompano, etc. And then up around my area in Sarasota, on the east side of the bay, Whitfield Avenue to Bowley's Creek, a lot of little accesses where you can park your car and get out and wade. And then there's the Robertson Preserve, which I talked about in the kayak show, which you can also wade the shores there, and then also over in Fort DeSoto Park. Now, that being said, lots of areas you can take the boat and get out and wade just as well. And some of the stuff that you like to bring is a little chest pack that you can put in, maybe some extra leader, some scissors, some jig heads, some soft plastics, and they even make really nice floating buckets to keep live bait in, bigger than a flow troll bucket. They're almost like a little cage that you can keep 50, 60 pilchards in or pinfish. Got a couple really good photos tonight of probably two of the best waders in my region, the Glunk brothers. Austin, that's the one with the clean face, and then his brother Jake with the beard. Those guys wade. They wade every chance they get, before work, after work, and they always are sending me some really, really good pictures.
All right, what you got? Go ahead, bub.
Go ahead. Staying inshore, tarpon fishing, Rick. I know you've been telling me it's been good down your way. It's really been good up here. And a lot of clean Gulf water. We haven't had any west winds to speak of other than our afternoon sea breezes. So in the morning, we got east winds. It's flat calm. You're going to find the fish laid up on the beaches, maybe slow swimming to the south. And what we like to do is cast free-line crabs, spread fins, or even today I had a good friend of mine out throwing fly at them. So it's pretty much any type of bait you want to throw at the tarpons in the morning, you're going to get that opportunity. In the afternoons, especially on the outgoing tides, which we have this week, look for the fish staged up on the outer bars of all our passes, from Boca Grande Pass all the way north up to Egmont Pass. And they're going to be out there on the backside of those bars, and you can either drift out or you can anchor up and float crabs out under a cork. Staying on our wading theme, I've got a tarpon photo with a good friend of ours, Captain Rob Gorda, in the water with a big old dinosaur tarpon.
That is a dinosaur. All right, bub, what do you got for me offshore?
Red grouper. Red grouper, Rick, is probably some of the best red grouper fishing we've had in years. Off the chain. A lot of fish in that 24 to 28 inch class throughout the entire region. My guys down out of Stump Pass Marina and Crow's Nest out of Venice, at Captain Eric White, telling me it's been really good red grouper fishing. And then also Captain Tim Noe out of the Marina Jack Flying Fish Fleet, same thing. And they all agree you want to get out at least 20, 30 miles, bring plenty of frozen sardines, but also bring some live pinfish too, and you're going to come home with a nice box of red groupers. I've got a picture tonight of a happy client aboard the Flying Fish out of Marina Jack with Captain Tim Noe. My last species, permit. I wish I could say that the permit fishing has slowed down, but it hasn't. I got in touch with Captain Billy Alstrom the other day, and him and all the other captains I know have been doing real well, 12 to 20 miles offshore over wrecks and reefs. Lots of small pass crabs are flushing out, so we have no trouble dipping our crabs in the evening before. Get out there, get set up, use the spot lock on your Rodan trolling motor, and you're going to come away with some nice permit. And my last photo tonight, again, our brothers, Jake and Max Newcomer, with Captain Billy the Kid Alstrom.
Man, Billy needs to get a haircut. I bet I'll call him on the way home. All right, Bub. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck. Hotspots from the Startron Central West region. He says that inshore tarpon fishing remains the best bite inshore with good early morning fishing along the beaches and strong afternoon outgoing tide bite in the passes. And then offshore, permit fishing over the reefs and wrecks in 70 to 100 feet of water still is red hot. And you might want to make sure you have at least a dozen pass grabs when you go.
All right, SiriusXM Marine is holding a free webinar co-hosted by our very own Captain Rick Murphy, June 3rd at 8 p.m., where you can learn how XM Marine weather can help you become a better angler. Right, Rick?
Absolutely. I know how it works, so I can't wait to share with the guys how it works.
It's going to give you some good tips. All right, start getting your gear together, my people, because we're picking up and headed to the Garmin Keys region next. But first, we're seeing what kind of gear Dave has picked up for us to drool over at the CCA workbench.
Yeah, all you guys want to go out there and get your butt wet, you're going to need some of these. I'll tell you that right now. We're going to talk about them.
Some sweet soft science kicks right there.
Very nice.
All right, we'll be back.
Very nice.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all, for less. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. Okuma, Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore four-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 four-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
How do you aim a 36-yard shot with a 30-yard fixed pin at a 15-degree angle with a 7-inch holdover without moving a single pin? Easy. You get one of these. Zero, the auto-ranging digital bow sight from Garmin.
We're here at the CCA workbench, and our floor manager's having a bad night tonight.
I wouldn't know, man. I don't know what they do. They're out there doing their job. I think they're doing great.
He forgot about the open. But you know, here at the CCA workbench,
right?
We got some new products. Why don't we talk about it?
Well, these are the Soft Science Men's Terrafin Fishing and Wading Boot, and these were actually designed for guys to fish in streams and stuff, fly fishing dudes, or wading in that really cold water. So what's really good about them is they're super non-slip. I mean, you can walk on mossy rocks with them. So that's what they were made for. So you can walk on anything with them, really. I mean, just because they were made for the rocks doesn't mean you can't use them on any flat.
I wear them all the time, Dave, and they're so very comfortable.
They're incredibly light.
Yeah.
Incredibly light, especially for a wading shoe.
And as you know, one of the downfalls about a wading shoe is how long it takes for it to dry.
Right. These dry immediately almost because they have this nice woven upper side, and they have a drain through in the sole that anytime new water gets in there, it drains out these front ports right here. It also has this removable insole that you can keep it clean, and also
wash it.
most importantly, keep it clean so it doesn't stink.
Antifungal.
Yes, yeah, that's what they say.
That's right. We're sticking to it.
Right, and those are great. I like them because they have non-rotting laces, and you can really get them on tight, and that's what I really like, to have my shoes on tight, so I don't lose them in the mud.
These don't rust.
No rust
salt
on
water.
there.
That's
Correct.
really cool. Good job, Soft
Correct.
Science.
Very good.
I'll endorse those for you if you'd like.
Why not?
I think I already do.
Here's some Spiros. These are new from Costa. These are, they call spear fishermen in Australia, they call them a Spiro, and that's who these guys were named for. They're light.
I'm not allowed to wear these.
They're very nice.
Because Daddy don't get in the water.
Oh, exactly. Well, they're lightweight. They have a bio frame, vented nose pads and non-slip nose pads. They're made for guys, made it in the water. The integral hinges and a little cam system in there. 4 frame colors. They also come in the blackout over there. That's you though, that auburn, that fall color. You're a fall.
This is my skin tone.
You're a fall,
But
I'm more of a matte black kind of guy, I think.
Yes, you're definitely on the dark side.
Yeah, I am. I like
All right,
these.
while we leave these on, Dave, why don't we talk about some of these new cool lures?
Well, those are the Nomad Riptides, and those actually come in. I got some out of the box right here. Those actually come in from a 1 1/4 ounce, which is some of these, all the way up to a big 6 ounces, from 4 inches up to 10 inches. They make a big giant one of these, and it's kind of it's a good topwater plug, but they also have a sinker. They have a sinker and a floater and a slow sink, and they got a triple layer clear coat. All the hardware is awesome in there. They have a Gorilla through wire. They use a hook called a BKK hook. I don't know what kind of hook it is, man, but it's some of the sharpest hooks I've ever felt. They're really, really nice. And those are made by Nomad Tackle. They're an Australian company, and they make everything down there to last because everything down there has teeth. Everything.
I think I'd like to try these.
Those are very cool, those Nomads. I really like them. Next, these are Band of Anglers. They have a section of their company called Ocean Born, and that's who makes these. These are the Flying Popper and the Flying Pencil. These are 6.3 inches long. They have angled wings at the back to allow it to... Ooh. Oh, did I get you with the hook? They have angled wings at the back to facilitate a longer cast. They actually have one of them called the super long distance that's really heavy and sinks hard that you can actually jig deep, 300 feet. And they also, on the bottom of these poppers and pencils, they have these little ribs on the bottom. Not only does it help it when it's flying through the air aerodynamically, it busts up the wind so it casts further, but also when it's in the water, it makes a lot more noise.
Probably makes bubbles.
Correct.
Think,
That's what it does.
Good work, guys.
Bandofanglers.com. You can go and
I'm
pick
going to
those.
join the Band of Anglers as we speak tomorrow.
Right.
I'm going to try one of these while I'm dolphin fishing tomorrow.
Those things are awesome.
I think
Yeah,
it'll
take
work
them
well.
away. Yes,
Yeah.
I know it will if you get in the dolphin.
All right.
You got to find them first.
It's going to be up to our next captain that we're having tonight to find me the dolphin.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right, the Garmin Keys region has so many opportunities for all kinds of adventures, so let's hear what we should be focused on this weekend from Captain Randy Chow.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Here in the Garmin Keys region, we really don't have a lot of places that you can go wading because of the houses that are on some of our nice wading flats, and also a lot of the places now are private property and you just can't get to it. So around the bridges, the ends of the bridges, you can wade a little bit, but we really don't have much in the way of wading along our US 1 highway here. But what we do have going on is some pretty good snook fishing in the backcountry. And there's a couple of reasons. One, they're out of season, so of course it's going to be good. And two, a lot of the guys are tarpon fishing, so the pressure isn't on these fish like it is normally when there's no tarpon around. So if you take advantage of that, and these guys with the technical boats, they like to get up shallow and push the thing around all day for some reason to find a fish laying in a pothole. And it's a lot of fun. And some of these fish have been big. I've talked to guys catching them over slot size in the 35, 36-inch range, sight casting to them with spinning rods and soft plastics, and also fly fishing. If there's enough fish on the flats, I always said snook and redfish were good practice for the guys to then go tarpon fishing, and it would warm them up a little bit. So the guys are doing that, and also along the shorelines in the deeper water, where guys with the bigger boats are finding some pretty good fishing using live bait like pilchards or pinfish. I've been doing some of that myself, taking a break from tarpon. They have not been nice to me lately, so I've switched over, and we've been catching some nice fish around Flamingo, and especially on the higher parts of the tide. Seems like once that tide starts to fall or gets low, it's not as good. So we actually have that tide right now in the morning if you're wanting to go to Flamingo. I've got a photo of Ralph Shepard from Vero Beach with one of his snook he caught the other day.
Looks nice. All right, looking good. Well, let's go. What else you got for me, bub? You got a little offshore stuff we're going to talk about?
We're talking about the dolphin. You're putting me on the spot already, and I'm giving up all the secrets right now, so I'm just putting it out there. The dolphin fishing's pretty good, and when you say good, it means you could go out tomorrow and catch a dolphin, or you could go out and never see one, but it's dolphin season, and the real trick from what I've heard talking to most of the guys, they're looking for the birds. They're looking for something that's going to make the dolphin in that area, whether it's a weed line, something floating. But birds are key, and understanding what the birds are doing are really key, because that makes the difference sometimes between catching a schoolie dolphin or a 30-pounder. And you really can understand what the birds are doing, the way they're working, if you have some experience with it. You know what to look for. And anywhere from about 600 feet right now on out to maybe 800. Don't overshoot them. Most of the reports I've heard are inshore of that, so it's easy to run out to 1,200 feet and miss them. But 600 feet's been a good depth, and guys are finding them, and especially on birds. And you want to be ready. That's the other part. When you find these dolphins, you can't be putting a hook on or putting a jig on. You've got to be ready to pick up that rod and cast to a fish. And that's just what I've got a photo of Nate Jackson Gunner fishing with Davy Jones with Munsters Fishing out of the Square Grouper. That's what they did.
That looks a pretty fish, man. That dude needs to get in the gym, as I can tell. All right, good job, Randy. What else you got for me offshore?
Blackfin tuna. The routine for a lot of us this time of year, when we get offshore, we have the humps off Isla Mirada and Marathon, and it's just a habit to go by them and see how the tuners are biting. And it's not uncommon to catch a big dolphin on top of the hump. But guys are catching their tunas, and if you want to target the bigger tunas, you need live bait. And live pilchards are always kind of the best bait to bring out there, because you can get a bunch of them usually if you find them. But when you get that live bait and you're able to throw out chum and get those blackfin tuna to the surface, they're going to yield 20-pounders, 30-pounders, and not everybody does it because it's a lot of work, and it's nice when you can do it ahead of time and have your bait ready for you. But sometimes you don't have that option. Captain James Simsick with Spear Crazy Charters out of Marathon, he takes the time to get bait. He takes the time to get his anglers. If he's going tuna fishing, he's going to have live bait and catch some big ones. And I've got a photo of exactly what he does.
Oh, look at that. That's some sushi there, Bree.
That's nice.
All right, well, Randy, thank you so much. We're going to have to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. Our Captain Randy recommends that inshore we go tarpon, fish the bridge early in the morning, or wait till late in the day before sunset with a mullet crab are working the best. And then offshore, dolphin. Look for the working birds and watch their behavior. Before you pass them, make sure you have a rod rigged and ready to fish.
Good luck with that.
We're doing this dolphin show for Sportsman's Adventures, and it's going to be about bird behavior. We're going to teach people what to look for and what not to look for. It's going to be a fun show to do.
But bird is the word.
Bird.
Is that what you're saying?
That's it.
All right, now let's take a look at some tournaments in the Keys.
What you think? I got to go.
You look good. You look good. At the Big Pine and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament, June 7th through the 9th, anglers are to compete for over $35,000 in cash prizes and awards. A $20,000 cash prize is set for the largest dolphin caught over 50 pounds. Female angler teams compete for the highest aggregate weight of 3 dolphin fish at the Ladies Dolphin Tournament, Saturday, June 8th in the Upper Keys. That's all we have on our end, but let's hear from Andy Newman and see what else is going on in the Florida Keys. Hey, Andy.
Anglers targeting marlin and other fish are to compete for $50,000 in cash prizes at the Stock Island Marina Village Key West Marlin Tournament. The event is set for July 17th to the 20th. A $25,000 award is planned for the first place team. The popular tournament is to be staged in conjunction with Key West's annual Hemingway Days celebration. More details at keywestmarlin.com, and for more information on other tournaments on the Florida Keys, go to flakeys.com.
Thank you very much, Andy. Up next, we're seeing what the Central East and East Region captains can guide us on this first weekend heading into June. But before we go, remember, if you want to be up to date on all things fishing in Florida, make sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and check us out on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala, another great day. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Oh, there it is. You can either stay busy fishing or get busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Find Florida's soul and discover Crystal River. Explore warm Gulf waters, spring-fed rivers, bountiful lakes, and fantastic fishing. Dive into adventure and enjoy the only place in the world where you can swim with the manatees. Treat yourself and your family to outdoor fun, rich history, and a relaxed coastal lifestyle. Discover Crystal River, Florida.
Welcome back, guys. Are you chomping on a Swedish fish there?
I got a red one in here.
I can see that. So does the rest of our audience. It's snack time, apparently.
It
All
is.
right, now it's time to check in with the Bell's Central East Region, Captain Jim Ross, and see what's waiting for us this weekend.
Waiting.
Well, that's a pretty good one there, Brie, I tell you.
Thanks.
This Bell Central East region, we've got a lot of beach activity, and it has some really diverse species, and some of the most diverse you can find throughout the state. Now, depending on the time of the year and the type of fishing gear you want to use, you can wade, you can use surf-type gear, you can fly fish, you can do just about anything as far as the gear goes, and chase almost any kind of fish that swims in our near-shore saltwater waters. Now, right now, the anglers are catching pompano, whiting, snook, tarpon, Spanish mackerel, bluefish, jack, flounder. Basically, you get the idea. Tons and tons of stuff. And anywhere from Vero all the way up to Ponce Inlet has been pretty consistent, especially over this springtime. We've had a really good run of fish along the beach. We had an 11-foot tiger shark that was caught off of Sebastian the other day. We had a cobia off the beach that weighed over 80 pounds. I mean, it's crazy the amount of stuff that you can catch here in the Bell Central East region. If you really want to, you just got to get out there and go do it. Now, staying inshore, some of the other species that we like to chase are the black drum. And they've been getting more and more prevalent throughout the last couple of years. And right now, it's been pretty good. Now, causeway bridges, rocky channel edges, and a lot of the spoil islands around the Intracoastal Waterway are where these fish seem to be feeding the most. So you want to try and give them, they don't sight fish very well, so you want to try and give them something live or natural smelling. And that's typically what's going to work best for them. So we use a lot of cut crab, live shrimp, cut shrimp, saltwater assassin shrimp, or seashad tails. And especially if you put a fish bite tipping on them. Now, that's one of the things that I've been doing is tipping them with fish bites, and I'm spraying them with Bang Scent as well. And I'll tell you, that combination seems to be working really well. What I do is I use a jigging, a very slow jigging action for the drum, a little light hopping motion, and it imitates a little shrimp or a little crab. And the drum don't really chase things; they just kind of go over to it and inhale it, and you feel your line get heavy. So you don't really feel a strike as much as you feel the weight. And most of our drum are running about 12 to 25 pounds right now. And I've got a picture here with Tiki Foil, and she was out with me. Her and Dana Foil were out with me the other day, and they were catching some nice black drum with us. And I want you to look at that lure. It's a Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad. This is really good one that's working right now. It's the goldfish color, and I'm putting a clam-flavored shrimp bite, or fish bite, over the top of that particular bait, and they really, really like that right now. Now, swinging offshore, guys, king mackerel bite's been pretty consistent throughout the region. Anywhere from the Vero Cove surf break right there at Vero Cove, I've seen king mackerel this past week skyrocketing right there, just slashing through the schools of bait fish. Off of Melbourne Beach, we've got them as well. Out 15 to 20 miles in the 70 to 90-foot reefs throughout the region, especially between Sebastian and Canaveral's been good. Half north, Party Grounds, East 11. The fish there's king mackerel just about anywhere you want to go. Now, to the north, Captain Mark Gibson was telling me that he's been using spoons and Rapala lip diamond plugs. That's what he's been doing the best on. Guys at Canaveral, live baits or rig dead baits, putting them on a slow troll type rig. And then down to the south, live pilchers are working really good. Most of our kings are running 10 to 15 pounds, but we've got some fish that have been pushing into the upper 30 and even into the lower 40-inch range here recently. Now, my last species is mangrove snapper. And, Rick, you love the snappers. We love the snappers here too, right?
That's it.
The guys and gals are getting out there doing a combination of things to get these fish to come up off the reefs and wrecks. Combination of ground chum and a little bit of chunking. Put some cut pieces of bait, whether it's sardine or pogies or pilchards or whatever kind of bait you happen to have. Let those slide back in there. Now, every once in a while, you take a 73, 85, 2-aught DMC circle hook and you slide it in one of the chunks, and you drift it on back with them. And I'll tell you what, you get a handful of fish up in the spread, and they start fighting over it, and all of a sudden, you're hooked up to a nice big one. Some of those fish are running up to 10 pounds, but most of them are running 3 to 4 pounds. Now, I had some friends of mine who went to Casa Vieja lately for Helena Wilkes's birthday, and she got her bucket list roosterfish.
Yes.
And they caught like 23, they hooked like 23 sailfish one day.
Wow.
And this second picture I have is one of the 23 that they got during that day. Had an absolute blast and just loved that Casa Vieja trip. So, if you guys and gals get a chance from the Central East region to go down and do that.
That's right. And if you want to go, just contact Jim or myself, and we can make sure that happens. Right, Jim?
Yes, we can.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. And Jim says that inshore to flounder around Ponce Inlet jetties, the fish bites is getting in the way. And near shore reefs, use live mud minnows or shrimp on a standard bottom rig. And then offshore, mangrove snappers on the reefs and wrecks in 90 to 130 feet of water. Chum and chunk with a 2-0 circle hook and 30-pound fluorocarbon leader.
Or just enter the Harbor Trucks giveaway.
That's
Hello.
right.
All right, speaking
There
of,
you go.
the Casa Vieja Southeast region is now on our minds. So let's hear what Captain Jimbo Thomas has to say about this upcoming weekend on or in the water.
That's right. Hey, Brie, Rick, Dave, and everybody in the studio. But, I don't think the Southeast region here is a big surf or wade fishing destination, but there are definitely plenty of opportunities to do both. Now, most of the beaches throughout the region, they're very fishing friendly, but you definitely want to get out there early before that beach gets too crowded. Now, long surf rods, in my opinion, are not needed down in the Southeast region, since most of the fish are not going to be way off the beach. They're going to be right in the surf close to the beach. Now, in the fall, we got bait coming right down the coastline, and chasing those baits are generally tarpon, snook, jacks, barracudas, and sharks. And you can target all those from the beach using medium spin outfits and with both live and artificial baits. Then throughout the rest of the year, like right now, look for any signs of bait, and there's generally snook and tarpon and jacks chasing those baits. So you want to match the hatch. If they're pilchards, use something that looks like a pilchard or even live pilchards if you can get them. As for wade fishing, a lot of the bottom throughout this whole area is like quicksand, which makes it kind of hard to walk through. But a couple of spots do come to mind. One is Matheson Hammock, which has good wade fishing for bonefish, sea trout, and barracuda on both the north and south sides of the park. And as a kid, I used to catch some big bonefish off that wading beach. Then off Hobie Beach, also along the Rickenbacker Causeway, there's occasionally bonefish and tarpon caught in that area. Then there are plenty of other areas throughout the region. Just got to get out there and test those waters. Now, staying inshore, we've got tarpon. They've been hanging around all of the inlets and also around the beaches adjacent to the inlets. And with the calm weather, fishing off the beaches is going to be pretty suitable for the next couple days. These tarpon are being caught late in the afternoons and in the evenings. A live crab has definitely been the beta choice, but a big live mullet or a big live shrimp will work if you can't get any live crabs. There's also been tarpon inside of Cape Florida and Key Biscayne, and also around any of the deeper holes like the dredge holes throughout Biscayne Bay and even the Intercoastal Waterway. These fish, they've been biting throughout the day using the same live crabs and mullet, and you can also cast artificials to those fish. Then we got schools of mullet that have been scattered throughout the Intercoastal Waterway from Venetian Causeway in Miami north to Lake Worth Inlet. And these tarpon are feeding on live mullet first thing in the morning. So look for those schools of mullet. The tarpon will be feeding on them. And if you don't have any live mullet, try throw a mullet pattern swim baits to them. A lot of these tarpon, both in the inlets and the bays, have been up in the 80 to 100 pound range. Now moving offshore, we've got some great blackfin tuna fish, and the fishing offshore has been really good the last few days. You want to fish along the edge of the Gulf Stream, and these blackfin tunas have been biting in depths anywhere from 120 to 250 feet of water. Best baits have been live pilchards, herring, sardines, goggle eyes. You want to fish them under the kite or on flat lines. Use 30 to 40 pound fluorocarbon leaders and 4.0 to 6.0 circle or J hooks. Now, we have had a few days with green water along the edge, but that really hasn't seemed to affect the bite. But if you can find some blue water with some north current, that's where the fish are going to be biting the best. Now, most of these blackfins have been in the 25 to 30 pound range in the last few days. These tunas have also been biting, excuse me, they've been biting throughout the day, but first thing in the morning, then late in the afternoon up from like 3 o'clock till dark, that's when it's going to be the best. Then in those same areas as the blackfins, the sailfish bite's been pretty good in the same depth, and fishing late in the day, it's been paying off for the sails and the tunas. And again, we'd like to have that blue water, but they've also been popping up in the green water using those live herrings, pilchards, and goggle eyes on the same rigs as for the tunas, the light leaders and the circle hooks fished under the kite. And just like the tunas, the best bite has been late in the afternoon. And if you can get some live pilchards to chum with, that'll really help get the tunas and those sails fired up.
All right, thank you so much.
Wait, hold on, I got a sailfish picture. Forgot about that. This is another sailfish that we tagged in the last couple days, and they've been getting in the way of our tuna fishing, but it's all good.
All right, good job, Jimbo. Great report from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the R&R tackle hotspots. Jimbo says inshore, look for the rolling tarpon or mark them on your fish finder in your local inlet and drift small crabs or a live mullet for the tarpon up to 100 pounds. And then offshore, drift or slow troll or kite fish live herring, sardines, or goggle eyes along the edge of the Gulf Stream in 90 to 250 feet of water for a mixed bag of blackfin tunas, sailfish, mahi, and kingfish.
Well, Rick, I can't believe it, but June is here, and our annual kids show is just around the corner on June 19th. I'm getting so excited because this gives us a chance to interact and inspire the next generation of fishing, which is very important, but also the kids will get lots of cool swag and, of course, a night to remember. So if you're looking for a great way to kick off the summer, head over to our website, FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, and sign on up. That is always a fun night. And my baby Mia will be here too.
And my baby Ron McGill will be here too, talking about invasive species to our waters.
Yes, he will. All right, the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, you're up next. So gather your gear while we take a short break right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm telling Ron you called him your baby.
He'll know.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix, always use the best line. The IGFA, Fish for the World. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. And Bell's, everything you need to live life local.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Out here, you need the power to control your environment, or it may control you. The power of the Kubota L2501 DT. It comes with all the easy-to-use implements you need, and the kind of comfort that delivers a satisfied smile all day long. Get the L2501 DT for as low as $139 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months, plus a 6-year warranty.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Today's Power Pole Tip of the Week, we're going to discuss catching bait with the help of my power poles. I have a couple different styles of bait catching, and both of them my power poles assist me. First, on the grass flats in the bay, I'll use my power poles to stop the boat and keep it from pivoting. Then I'll begin to chum in front of my boat to bring the pilchards to the bow along with some pinfish. I'll throw my cast net a few times, bag my pilchards, put them in my live well, and go run my charter. My second method is what we call rodeo style, and we'll ride up and down the beach on the trolling motor looking for the pilchards, running down the beach, and I'm talking in 1 foot, 2 foot of water right along the beach. Once I've seen them, I'll throw the cast net on them. Using my foot switch, I'll lower the power poles, stopping the boat, bag the pilchards, put them in the live well. And that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
Have you ever done that rodeo style there, Brie?
I have, yeah.
I
It was on Jeff's boat.
Slipped and busted your tush.
I did a little bit, but that sometimes happens, right? I got back up and tried again and
Maybe
did
down.
great. Okay, anyway,
Maybe
let's check out what the Discover Crystal River Northwest region has in store for us anglers this weekend with Captain Jeff Hageman. Let's hear it, Hag.
Wading is a great way to fish my region. We've got a lot of good area to wade in. A good pair of wading boots is a must, though, because we have a lot of limestone and oyster bars in my area, so you want to try and protect your feet. But right now, in the summer months, we've got some great snook fishing along the beaches and passes, and you can get out there. Most people try to wade out a little bit too far when they're wading off the beach for snook. You want to fish that swash channel, unless you're fishing in a pass with a deep water cut. But most of the fish are going to be hanging up real close to the beach, right where that swash channel is. I'm talking about almost right where the water meets the sand. And that's where you're going to catch most of the snook. You want to fish parallel down the beach, not necessarily fish out. But in the northern part of my region, you're going to need a boat, kayak, or canoe to get to some great wading spots. I actually took Rick up to Wackasasa, and we used the boat to get into place of the super negative tides in the wintertime. And the water flushes out and leaves these potholes with fish trapped in them, and the only way to get to them is actually either wading or an airboat. And in my case, I don't have an airboat, so we wade to these spots, and it's kind of like fishing in a barrel. You got little pools that fish get trapped in, and it's a great way to fish. But staying inshore, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tale Charters at a plantation on Crystal River reports a good redfish bite right now. He's fishing around the mangrove islands and keys from Crystal River to Homosassa. They're cruising right now along the shorelines and schools around this big mullet. So redfish off the shorelines. He's fishing that yellow-colored bottom just outside the mullet. He's using both pinfish and large select shrimp on an 1/8-ounce jig head. And he said the middle and the incoming tide's been the best tide. And the redfish right now, they're averaging anywhere from 25 to 32 inches. Staying inshore, Captain Jimbo Keith, the Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters out of Cedar Key, reports the speckled trout bite have made their move to the edges, so the flats and deeper water on both the incoming and outgoing tides. They're both working really well. Artificial baits like Saltwater Assassin, She Shad, Hale, and Green Moon and Electric Chicken are the go-to baits right now. Moving up the coast, Captain John with JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports the mangrove snapper right now are holding in 40 to 60 foot water, and he's using heavy chum right now to bring most of the fish up to the surface off of pretty much any structure out right now. And he's flatlining with an 8-piece of fluorocarbon leader, 30-pound test with a 2-aught circle hook with a peeled shrimp, something they do up there. It's a little different than we do, but a peeled shrimp seems to be working the best. And I've got a photo here Captain John sent in of a great man on a recent trip.
Nice, nice, nice.
That's a good one. I know you like those mangroves.
I do. I like to eat them.
Me as well. Captain Jimbo Keith, the Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters out of Cedar Key, also reports right now a really good triple-tailed bite right now. They're showing up on the offshore crab traps and buoys in the shallow rocks. The outgoing tide seems to be the best, and he's getting a few cobia mixed in there too. And I'm also got a good report from JB in Apalachicola. He's finding the same thing right now, and I've got a couple photos sent in from both of them of some great triple-tail.
Nice. Nice.
Okay.
Looks a little windy that day with the hair blowing there. I wouldn't know about that.
No, you wouldn't.
Would you? Right?
Yeah, would you?
All right, bud. Well, thank you. Great report this week. Very thorough. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Anytime sunscreen and mosquito repellent hotspots from the Discover Crystal River Northwest region. He said inshore, snook around the beaches and passes, use pinfish or sardines on the outgoing tide. And then offshore, mangrove snappers on the high relief structures and 30 to 70 feet of water, use cut sardines on a knockeray.
You have so many comments about people's hair or lack of hair tonight.
Yes, because when you're dealing with this, and if you even notice, Brie, what happened, I went to trim my goatee and I got a little stupid with it, and now I got no gold more tea.
You're not going, you're just teeing.
No.
Okay.
No more goatee,
okay, put your
which
hat
means
back on.
less of me.
Okay, put your hat back on. It's okay, Rick. We still love you. All right, we've got you ready and prepped to cool down from the heat this weekend, but stay tuned because we're digging down deep and taking you fishing for another species next week. We'll be right back.
All right.
With just the tea.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper to bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
For the bass that thinks it's a bulldog. For the walleye that thinks it's a freight train. For the tuna that thinks it's a torpedo. For the tarpon that thinks it's a tarpon. You need the mono that thinks it's a braid. Suffix Advance. New Advanced Mono with HMPE braid molecules for strength, abrasion resistance, and low stretch. Suffix Advance. The mono that thinks it's a braid.
Be sane. Don't fritter away your time.
All right, make sure to tune in next week because we are talking about grouper.
Sandwiches.
Yum, yum, yum. Grouper sandwiches. That's all we're talking about next week.
So you know what?
What happened?
Dave's gonna be out next week. He's got graduation in his house.
No, I'm going to Yellowstone.
You're going to Yellowstone?
Yeah, I'm going to go fly
There's
fishing
so
for
many
a trout.
graduations going on right now.
A trout. I'm going to catch a trout.
That's going to be fun.
That will be fun.
So we've invited Ray Rocher, who used to be the captain of the Southeast region before Jimbo, and he's going to do all the workbench stuff, the owner of R&R Tackle.
He's a good
course,
fella.
I'm sure
and
there's a lot to say about
the captain of the Miss Brit fleet.
Correct.
So I am excited to have. I'll miss you, Dave.
No,
but
you
I'm
won't.
excited to have
No,
some.
We'll miss you, Dave.
Some
We
new
miss you.
ideas.
We'll miss Dave.
I'm a
Your
little
one-liners
scared.
are just-
Old Ray's really good.
And I don't have to look up to Ray. He and I same size.
Well, that's good. That's important. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a great weekend.